Hey, how's it going, fight fans? All right, so I'm going to take a few minutes to go over something when it comes to your jab. This is really what I consider to be the secret to throwing your jab without getting hit with counter shots. So we'll go over a few different aspects of how to throw the jab and what you should be doing when you throw it, in my opinion. Now, one thing that I know about boxing or any kind of fighting, martial arts, karate, or whatnot, is there is no exact way you have to do something. So I can show you something that works for me. It may not work for you, or you may not, pick it up the same way that I pick it up. You may put your own flair on something. But just because somebody tells you that this is the way it should be done doesn't mean that's the way you have to do it. All right, there are a lot of unorthodox ways of fighting, and sometimes something works because it's an element of surprise. But this is the way that I use my defense when I'm throwing my jab, and I really do think that if you get this down, it's going to help you tremendously with your blocking, so you're not throwing your jab and getting hit at the same time. First of all, when we're throwing a jab, you have to make sure that your backhand stays up. The reason why is if you're throwing your jab out and your other hand is dropping, you're telegraphing that right hand when it comes out. The jab is meant to off-balance your opponent, to get their timing and rhythm off, to set up your right hand most of the time. It's coming in there, it's setting up that right hand, it's blinding them so that they don't see the right hand coming and stuff like that. But if you're dropping the right hand down, then you're automatically throwing your punch as a telegraph. It's coming from too low, you're leaving yourself open for a left hook, and it's just not gonna, if a good fighter is fighting you and you start dropping your right hand, they're gonna be looking for the left hook, or come, with anything over to that side where you're not going to be able to keep that, have that hand at your face where you need it to protect yourself. So make sure, first of all, when you're throwing your jab, you're not dropping your right. But that right hand also is going to come in really handy for something else. When you're throwing your jab out there, I watch a lot of jab lock, videos, and people teach how to turn the shoulder and stuff like that, and that's a good way of blocking, turning into the shot so you can catch a jab and then maybe come back with a left hook. It kind of gets your shoulders turned, and this way you can come back from the other side with some good power. And that is a way you do want to block with the jab sometimes. The way I'm going to show you to do it today is a way that, it's just a different way of looking at it. If you're out there and you're just throwing jabs and you're trying not to get hit with the counter jab, maybe I'm not so much trying to block that person's jab and come back with a left hook counter. What I'm trying to do is just make sure I'm not getting hit with their jab while I'm throwing my own jab. So what I'm going to do is, I want to think of it this way. As I'm throwing my jab, I'm going to move my head. So I'm not thinking about moving my hand all over the place. And if you remember anything out of this video, remember this. I'm moving my head, not my hand. Okay? If I move my hand, I'm just allowing myself to create more openings. The less I move my hands, the better when it comes to my defense. So what I want to do is move my head. So as my jab's coming out, I'm moving my head off of the center line. And I don't always see this taught this way. I see a lot of times, like I said, the jab lock, turning the shoulder and things like that. But if you're throwing your jab and you're moving your head, you're automatically putting your head behind your hand. So this is the position you're going to get into. Your hand can stay kind of loose in that boxing glove when you're blocking. I don't have my gloves on, but you guys can get the picture here. I probably even a little better without the glove on. But my right hand becomes a good shield right in front of my left cheek. Okay? And then when my jab comes out, I'm protected by my shoulder, so my chin has to stay down. So I'm not going to get hit with that cross over the top of my jab. And then my head's moving away from the center line, so if the jab comes back, it's coming up my arm towards my face, and now my face is over here, and my hand is here to catch the jab if it does finally get to my cheek. Okay? So if I didn't get quite outside of it, my hand's going to block it. If you don't get yourself into this position, then you're usually just staying right here, and now you're protected for a left hook, but you're not really protected for the jab counter. But here's what's cool about this way that I'm showing you. If you go ahead and you block the jab and you moved your head to the right, if the left hook comes, you're automatically, see, because you're supposed to be shifting your head, moving your head, rolling with the punches, right? So when the left hook comes, I'm just taking my head and moving it away from the power of the left hook. I'm absorbing some of that power. So I'm just going to move my head that direction away from the power, and my hand is automatically on the other side of my face. Now again, watch my hand. My hand isn't moving, it's just an illusion. Right now my hand is on my left cheek, and that's because my head is moved to the right. But when I slip the hook, when I move that direction, all I've done was move my head to my left. My hand hasn't gone anywhere, but I'm absorbing the shock of that left hook now coming around, and my hand is automatically on the other side of my face, and then now I can take that left hook shot. So it doesn't take much time to go from a jab to a left hook block, and now you have both covered. You know, you could also block the cross. If you dropped your left hand down and the cross came over the top, now you have this as a cross block. So you're blocking the jab, you're blocking the hook, and you can block the cross, right? So moving the head off the center line. You want to get good at that every time you throw the jab and you're not throwing across. If I'm going to throw a 1-2, I'm committed to that 1-2. So I'm not going to go here and then go here. But if I know I'm just firing some jabs and the guy's got a good jab and I'm catching jabs, right, I'm going to move my head. I want to always be moving my head to a different location. So I might drop down, I might move to the outside, I might move to the inside. But look at how my hand is protecting my face as I'm moving, right? So backhand's doing a lot of work here, and now I can peck away with my jab, okay? So whatever that person throws at me in between my jabs, I'm covered. But most importantly, when you have that person throwing a jab counter at you, see, when you're throwing your jab out, they should be throwing their jab up your arm. Because for most people, if their right hand is here, when you're throwing their jab out, this is wide open. So if you're throwing your jab out at me, I want to come right up your arm and hit you right here on the cheek, because that's where your hand isn't. So knowing that, that's why I want to make sure that right hand is there to protect that cheek. All right? Now you're not going to be coming in like a robot, throwing your jab and getting your head snapped back because you have no protection. So when you practice in the mirror, first of all, always go to a mirror. Practice in the mirror first, because everything starts from the shadow boxing. From the shadow boxing, then you can go to the double end bags, the heavy bags, and then you maybe with partner training, and then start working on it in the ring. But don't neglect the shadow boxing, because that's really the most important tool that you have to teach yourself how to do these things the right way, and just get comfortable with doing them the right way. If you go straight to a heavy bag, you're going to have all kinds of bad habits. And if you're working out in a garage or you're working out at a gym on a heavy bag, it's not really a boxing gym, you're giving yourself all kinds of bad habits and you don't even realize it. So make sure that you start in the mirror, and then you can see if you're making mistakes. And if you see you're dropping your hand down when you throw your jab, then you can make the adjustment and make sure you're getting it back into the right positions. Okay? You might throw your jab and bring it back too low. The mirror is going to show you that. So, you start practicing this stuff in the mirrors, right? And then you keep getting better at not dropping those hands down. All right? Every time you throw your jab out, you bring it right back. The elbow comes in here. Now you can protect your body. You can protect your face. It's up. This is a lazy way of throwing the jab. It has its times where you can use it. You can throw up jabs and things like that. But for a beginner, that's not what you want to be practicing. Practice good, sound defense, hands always up, hands always coming back, because even when fighters fight like this and they have a really good idea of their range, which you really need good defense and a good range to be able to fight like this, when they come inside, a lot of times they're still fighting back in here like this. So make sure that you're not just like dropping hands down and being lazy. Teach yourself how to jab and bring your hand back, and keep your elbow underneath your hand, looking over top of that front hand. When you're in close, your hands come in here. When you're farther away, your left hand stays out in front of you. That right hand's catching when you're throwing, and you're moving your head. Remember that your jab can set up a lot of different punches for you. Throwing a jab to the body can get them to lean down so you can throw an uppercut, can get their arms down so you can throw an overhand right. throwing the jab in their vision, can set up a cross right up the center. So it can do a lot of awesome things for you, but if you're getting hit every time you throw it, you're gonna stop throwing it. So work on that, work on the catch, work on the head movement, and remember the number one thing that we talked about is move your head, not your hand. I hope that helps. Make sure you get in the gym because you got to work these things against live people, live partners, live sparring partners. Don't think you're going to be a great boxer just hitting a heavy bag by yourself. Spend a few bucks, get in the gym. We're at Rob's Fight Club here in Horsham. FightGetFit.com. Check us out and come on and try out a free class. If you guys are already here working hard, work this jab block into your shadow boxing, and you're going to probably really quickly start to see a huge improvement in your sparring. All right, guys, it's been real. Talk to you soon. Coach Rob signing off.